We are pleased you could join us today, and thank you for your continued involvement with the FDU community. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. It's President J. Michael Adams. He's been president for 10 years, and I think you all know who he is. President Adams.
Thank you, Joe. I actually asked to do this today. 10 years ago this month, I appeared before my first Fairleigh Dickinson University convocation. I asked you at that time to step back to a porch in Rutherford overlooking the abandoned Iverson Castle. I wanted to personally connect with our founder's vision, and I wanted to share that connection with you. I quoted Peter Sammartino, who looked at the castle, admittedly under the influence of 2 martinis, and had the courage to ask, wouldn't it be fun to start a college? Peter and Sally and many other colleagues did just that. They started something wonderful and rare, known today as Fairleigh Dickinson University. Yes, I believe it was fun for them, but I also know it was a lot of work. At Convocation a decade ago this month, I suggested, why don't we return to our founder's vision? Why don't we build a more global university? This past July 1st marked the 10th anniversary of my service to this great institution. A lot has changed over the decade. There are a lot of new faces in the audience. In fact, I asked, how many new ones? Nearly 1/2 of all the full-time faculty at the university today were hired after I arrived. So there's a lot of new attitudes and opinions and insights to consider, respect, and appreciate. But there are also some fundamental values and enduring principles that continue to guide us. This past summer was a very special time for me and my wife. It was a time for reflection and review in the past 10 years. During my remarks today, I'd really like to focus on 2 decades, not just one. I'd like to look back at a decade that I think is worth reviewing and celebrating a bit. And then I'd like to challenge you with me about a few thoughts of the next decade at FDU. It's difficult sometimes to see what is no longer here. When it's not there, you can't see it. But I think it's important to sharpen our focus for just a moment to do just that. 10 years ago this fall, FDU's mission was to be the regional leader in lifelong learning. I'm committed to lifelong learning, but I told you and the board then that a mission must inspire, a mission must be aspirational. Today, our mission is to prepare world citizens through a global education, giving students the ability to participate, lead, and prosper in the global marketplace of ideas, commerce, and culture. I recall quite clearly the circumstances of drafting that statement. Jeff Wyman, you were in the room as 5 of us crafted the words of a new direction for our university. The mission was endorsed without edit by Faculty Senate and the Board of Trustees, and we set off to translate a mission statement into a sense of mission across this university. 10 years ago, we had 6 condemned buildings on 2 campuses. Tony Adrignolo, I followed your suggestion. You suggested that 1st September that I should take the campus tour for prospective freshmen. I did. Let me tell you, it was an amazing experience. We didn't look like a university. So one of my earliest priorities was to clean the place up. Since 1999, we've torn down those dilapidated structures and either renovated or built 10 buildings. Dick Riccio, how many paths and lecture seats did I ask you to repair? Rich Bronson, how many benches did you build and how many residence halls did you completely renovate? Joe Kiernan, how many classrooms did you upgrade? Ken Green, how many offices did you refurbish and how many studios or laboratories did you rebuild? Nicholas Baldwin, how many 600-year-old rooms to which did you add bathrooms and run a T1 line to our 13th century abbey? My dear friends, our campuses were cleaned up, and a prospective student tour today is a joy to take. 10 years ago, I tried to send an email to all faculty and staff in the university in that first semester. My message crashed the system. I was asked in the future to wait until after 10:30 at night to send it out. Neil Sturm, you and Brian Dominic will remember that environment all too well. Since 1999, we've implemented a new central email system and invested in expanding technology across the entire university. We've installed data projectors in all public classrooms, implemented the Blackboard learning management system, established a 24/7 help desk, and committed to a faculty laptop program that recycles every 3 years. It's a different place. All those things are gone. In addition to trying to remember what's no longer there, I think it's also important to sharpen your focus in another way. Sometimes we don't see what's always there. Consistency of presence often makes things invisible. Some do not recognize the transformation of this institution, how FDU's environment and programs and opportunities have changed. Others have. The American Council on Education, the premier higher education organization in the United States, the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, and NAFSA all cite Fairleigh Dickinson for its distinctive and powerful efforts to provide a world education for the 21st century. Outside campus, when people outside campus look at what you are doing here, there's awe and admiration. Inside, many still do not see what's happening here and how unique we really are. Have you paused to take a look lately? Have you been a participant? Have you invited a global virtual faculty to partner with you to bring worldviews into the classroom? We now have over 70 professionals and scholars from around the world who are available to join you online. FDU has repeatedly been recognized for our use of technology to bring the world to campus. Have you taken students abroad? More and more faculty are offering short-term study abroad courses as an appealing alternative to long-term study. Ask Rose and Dan Toomey about the power of short-term study abroad. Have you visited our latest campus in Vancouver? After in-depth evaluation, the Middle States Commission gave FDU Vancouver its highest rating and cited it as the model of international campus development. Talk to Chris Capuano. He'll be happy to talk to you about opportunities there. Have you explored how to participate in UN conferences and meetings with our special consultative status with the ECOSOC? FDU is the only university in the entire world to have that distinction. Minerva Gutmann and Glenina Hayes-Smith were FDU delegates to a recent conference on global health in Geneva, Switzerland. Ask them if it was worthwhile. Have you invited speakers from other universities around the world to visit and have them stay in one of our visiting international guest suites in our 2 new residence halls? If asked, could you tell someone about our hugely successful programs designed for Spanish-speaking and Korean-speaking adults called Porta el Futuro and Miro Ra? These innovative offerings combine intensive English language training with college-level coursework. Have you clicked